everyone, welcome to Date Like a French Woman, episode 2. Muriel Felous here, your relationship coach and founder of datelikeafrenchwoman.com. Today, I would like to talk about a subject that is very dear to my heart and is actually related to a question that I hear a lot from my clients and the people I talk to. Do things really happen for a reason? What an important matter. Personally, I do believe that there are things that are orchestrated from above and that no matter what, you will go through them in order for you to grow on a spiritual level, to ascend to a higher level of spirituality and learn some lessons that you decided to come here on earth to learn. And I even believe that we actually have partners before we come here. We are spiritual beings after all, before being physical beings. So we even have partners and groups of other spiritual beings that agree to come and play a role in our growth, play a role in our lessons. And sometimes it's not very pleasant because we go through experiences that may be painful or sad. And on a human level, we're scared and we suffer. But when you start thinking on a higher level, you may even get to a point where you can feel gratitude for those people who actually kicked your bottom because they were spiritual allies. I know that personally it helps me a lot in my relationships with the people who are difficult in my life. On another level, there are things that we create while we're here because our thoughts create our emotions and we are energy beings. So every emotion that we feel in our body will radiate to the outside world and will be matched with whatever is vibrating at the same level. I always explain energy like an elevator. If you take the elevator and you push 3, you stop on the 3rd floor and you are matched with whatever and whomever is on the 3rd floor. So that's how you attract and more align with the energies that vibrate at the same level as yours. Another thing to consider regarding the reasons why things happen. We know the causality of things, like for every action there is a reaction. Causes will create consequences. So also what is worthy to look at is what do we do? How do we act? How do we behave when we are on autopilot? Because we don't necessarily realize that. But when you receive the same kinds of results in your life over and over, it's created by you. And it's really important to go back and try to catch ourselves more, to be more aware of how we behave, because that's the reason for the results and the things that are happening in our lives. Sometimes we behave in a certain way, we get a certain kind of results. So consider the 3 aspects and really the fact that you may believe that there is a higher orchestration, a higher power that is conspiring in your favor. It really helps because then you're more inclined to look for what's the present behind it, what's the lesson, what's the silver lining. Because in everything that you are going to go through, there is a silver lining. I know that sometimes it may seem really, really well hidden, but there is always something good that can come out of it. So my approach is, even if you don't believe that things happen for a reason, it's okay. I have a friend who's very, very rational, but we get to the same result because although she doesn't necessarily believe that things happen for a reason, she believes more in randomness sometimes, she will try to do the best with what happens. And that's why I recommend to people who don't believe that things happen for a reason to pretend that they were and to try to find a positive reason why it would be happening. It doesn't matter if it's really not orchestrated. What would be the present behind the situation? What did you learn from it? What did you gain from it? How did you change from it? And especially when you go through hardship, what positive results, if there was any, this specific situation that you went through could create in your life? And then the pain, the suffering, the hardship, nothing was in vain because you give it a reason. You don't need to wait for somebody else to give a reason. You don't need to wait to understand what the reason is, because the truth is that sometimes we understand way later, even years later, and sometimes not at all. We may actually go through stuff and we don't know that it may have saved our lives. If you get in a problem with your car or a car accident that is not very difficult, or you don't know that because you stopped at that point where it happened, it prevented you from going forward where you could have been killed. I remember once I was in my car and I was struggling with a bracelet, and I was thinking about my grandmother at the time because the bracelet that I was wearing looked a lot like one of hers. And I couldn't close the bracelet. And because I couldn't close, I couldn't start driving when the light turned green. Because I didn't start when the light turned green, because I didn't go right away, it actually saved my life. Because a few seconds after the light turned green, there is a guy in the other direction that ran through the red light, and he was going at such a speed that he probably would have killed me. So in that case, I was able to see that this bracelet being stuck helped to save my life. But sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we don't know, but we need to find a way to trust that it does happen for a reason if we want to find it. And in fact, when we talk about relationships, I always, of course, when something goes wrong, there is the initial state of sadness and then anger, and it's not a fun trip. But every emotion has its role in our lives, and it's absolutely, in my books, forbidden to try to bypass an emotion because they have their roles. They bring messages from our unconscious mind. But once you went through the storm, you don't stay in the storm. You don't prolong the anger by reliving the thing in your head over and over and over. Give yourself some time limit. Go crazy, cry, be sad, or be angry, never hurting another human being, although. But put it on paper or do whatever you have to do to let it out. But then be wise and find what this specific event in your life, this specific person may have brought to you, because there is always a benefit, even for the people who behave really in a way that is not nice. I had people in my life behaving in a nasty way. And of course, at the beginning, I was upset and angry and all that. But then, when I was able to realize that they were my spiritual allies, I saw what good came out of it. I became a stronger person. I was able to stand on my own 2 feet. I had to get out of my shell. So go back to your relationships, especially the ones that didn't end well, and try to see what good came out of it in your life. How you may be stronger, how you may be wiser, how you may have connected with someone better because you let go of that person. There is always a benefit, and really, it's worth the investigation. I really encourage you to do that. And if you want, actually, you can even send me a message if you have an example. I may even let people know on air of your story, because we learn through each other's stories way better than with like academic theories. We are storytellers, and we resonate with it. So I always love to hear people's stories. So that's my topic of the day. I hope it's going to help you, and I hope you're going to really do the work of going back and see what the present was if you don't know yet. Next week is going to be interview week, and I'm going to have an amazing coach. His name is JB Glossinger, and he's known as the Morning Coach. He has a podcast for, I think, 12 years, something like this. So I really wanted to interview him and see what wisdom we could gain from this interview, and that's what's going to be next week. So again, if you want me to cover certain topics regarding relationships, regarding dating, please let me know, and I will be more than happy to do so. Until we see each other again, find the silver lining in your life, find the present.